Okay, so today we're going to talk about factoring special cases, okay? So there are special cases that if you do it in a certain way, it is going to make your life simpler. Now, you can still do it like you normally could, but if you know these little tricks, okay, you should be able to just pop these problems out, okay? You should be able to do them quickly and efficiently, and it's going to make it a whole lot simpler. So, we have a new rule. This is rule number 2. If the first and last terms are perfect squares, okay, like 2 times 2 is 4, 9, 16, so on and so forth, you can find the square roots and factor accordingly, okay? So, let's look at this first example. X squared plus 8x plus 16, okay? So the first is a perfect square, the last is a perfect square, okay? So x squared equals the perfect square of x, because x times x is x squared. 16 equals the perfect square of 4, okay? So I can rewrite it. So I can do the perfect square of x squared, which is x, okay? If it's plus, I'm going to do plus 4, okay? And I'm going to do it 2 times, x plus 4. So now, if I factor this out, I'll get this. 4 times 4 is 16, 4 plus 4 is 8, okay? And that's my answer. That's all you do. You just take the perfect square of this one and the last one, and you put it in parentheses and copy it 2 times. Okay? If the first sign is a positive, then both parentheses are positive, okay? So let's look at these. Okay, so we know I'm going to have 2 parentheses. Okay, this is plus, so we know they're both going to be plus now. The square root of x squared is just x. Okay, the square root of 81 is going to give me 9. And that's my answer. Okay, 9 times 9 is 81, 9 plus 9 is 18. So we know it's correct. Okay, let's look at this next one. These are really fun. Okay, 4 is the perfect square and x squared is the perfect square. Okay, so if I come over here and show you, we did this last week. Okay, the square root of 4 is 2, then x squared is divisible by 2, 2 divided by 2 is just 1, so I have 2x, and that is a perfect square. Okay, so again I'm going to have 2 parentheses. This is positive, so they're both going to be positive. The square root of this one is 2x. The square root of 81 is 9. And just copy it again. Okay, and that is my answer. Again, you're just taking, if you have perfect squares, you can take the square root of the first one and the last one and then put them in parentheses like so. But that's only if it's perfect. Okay? Now I want you to try these. So go ahead, pause the video, work these 2 out, and then come back for the solutions. Okay, welcome back. Okay, this is a perfect square. This is a perfect square. So square root of, I know I'm going to have 2 parentheses. This is positive, so both is going to be positive. Square root of x squared is just x. And then the square root of 1 is just 1. Okay? And that is my answer. Look at this one down here. Again, this is a perfect square, so I'm going to take the square root of that. This is a perfect square, so I'm going to take the square root of that. Got my parentheses. This is a plus sign, so they both have to be positive. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of x squared is just x. Square root of 16 is 4. Okay, and then that is my answer. Okay, these are fun. I really like these. Okay, again, if you know the trick, it's going to be, you can get them done faster. Okay. If the first sign is negative, then both parentheses will be negative. So, since this is negative, both is going to be negative. Okay? Square root of x squared is x, square root of 25 is 5. Okay, and that is my answer. Okay, down here, these are perfect squares. This is a negative, so in my parentheses, they're both going to be negative. Okay, square root of 9 is 3, square root of x to the second. Again, you divide by 2. Since it's divisible by 2, I get 1, so I'm left with just 1x. Okay, square root of 49 is 7. And copy that again. Okay, and that is my answer. So now I want you to try these two. Okay, so pause the video, try those, and then come back for the solutions. Okay, let's go over the answers. Okay, so number 1, okay, perfect squares. This is a minus sign, so both of them are going to be minus. Take the square root of x squared, which is x. Square root of 100 is 10. This is my answer. Okay. 36 and 25, they're both perfect squares. This is negative, so the sign in both my parentheses are going to be negative. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 25 is 5. And that is my answer. So now, third type. For expressions with only 2 terms and a minus sign, you must use a plus and minus inside the parentheses to cancel out the middle term. Okay, so anytime you just see this, okay, this is called the difference of squares. So go ahead and you're going to have 1 plus and you're going to have 1 minus. Now this is only if you have 2 terms with a minus sign in between. Okay, and the plus. No, with just the minus. Okay, you can only do this, if you have a minus sign. If this was plus, you wouldn't do it this way, okay? It's only with a minus sign that you can have 1 plus, 1 negative. Okay, and then if they're perfect squares. So square root of x squared is x. Square root of 144 is 12. And it's going to be the same thing over here. So again, if you have perfect squares and you only have 2 terms with a minus sign, one parentheses you're going to have a positive, the other you're going to have a negative. Okay? So same thing here. perfect squares, this is a negative, so I'm going to have one parentheses that is positive, the other one that is negative. Square root of 81 squared, x squared is going to be 9x. Square root of 1 is just 1. Okay. And that's it. So I want you to try these two. So go ahead, pause the video, try doing these two, and then come back for the answers. Welcome back. Since these are perfect squares and there's a minus sign, I'm going to have one positive, one negative. Square root of x is x, square root of 49 is 7. And that is my answer. So down here, again, I have perfect squares. This is a negative, so I'm going to have one that's positive, one that's negative. Square root of 36x squared is going to give me 6x. Square root of 25 is 5. Okay. And that is my answer. We have one more. Okay. We have one more problem. So just hang in there with me. So again, you never, ever, ever want to forget rule number 1. Sample 27. Whoa, that's not 27. 27x squared minus 12. Okay? Always want to see if I can factor first. What can I factor? I can factor out a 3. 3 go into both. Okay? So now I have perfect squares. I have a minus sign, so now I'm going to have two parentheses, one with a plus, one with a minus. Square root of 9x squared is going to give me 3x. Square root of 4 is going to give me 2. Okay, and you're going to keep that GCF on the outside. Okay? You see how factoring out the GCF made this problem a whole lot simpler? Yes. Okay, if you didn't know to factor out the GCF, chances of you getting this one right would be very slim. Almost none. You probably won't get it correct. So when you're doing these problems, always make sure you cannot factor out a GCF. Okay, and if you don't know, you could easily plug 27 and 12 into the calculator. Okay, you can do math, move over 1, go down to GCD, and put these in. And it'll give you the GCF. Okay, so before we leave, try this one on your own. Okay, pause the video and complete this one. And then come back for the solution. Okay, welcome back. So the GCF is going to be 2. Okay. Okay, so now I have a difference of squares. Just leave 2 on the outside. I'm going to have 2 parentheses, 1 minus, 1 plus, 1 minus. Square root of x squared is just x. Square root of 1 is just 1. And that's my answer. Okay, so you always keep the GCF on the outside. Okay, and that is all for today. Okay, just remember when you're doing these problems, always make sure to factor out the GCF if possible first. Okay, y'all have a good day.